Arpita,
Yes, sir.
tell us like what are the things we already have covered.
So we have covered about what is the financial accounting terms, types of business units, cost and elements of cost. We have done cash flow, direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing cost.
Cash flow, I think we have not covered. Cash flow we haven't done.
Cost
So we
flow.
have done the prime cost one.
That is cost flow.
Cost flow. Sorry, sir. Cost flow.
Yes. Then we had learned about how to prepare the cost sheet to find out the profit in a
Yes,
particular period of time, income statement, period cost, product cost, manufacturing, non-manufacturing, right? Direct cost, indirect cost. These are the things we had covered. Huh? What about the quiz? How was your quiz day before yesterday, Arpita?
So I did not get good marks because I did not study. I was not well, so I was not prepared for that.
All right.
Next time I'll do my best.
Sir, the quiz
Yeah.
was very easy, but the time was very less as compared to the question.
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, we didn't had any idea. Like the specified
sir.
time wasn't mentioned, so we got
So,
confused.
there are
Half of
this
the
will
people
Can we
happen
discuss
submitted.
the answers?
The practical based questions were there, so we needed some more
So
time.
the calculation period
So-
takes time.
Yeah,
So
yes,
But can
sir.
we
The
discuss the
calculation
numericals or in the
takes
class?
more
It
time.
will be better, sir, for us.
Yeah,
to
I will
understand.
discuss all the questions. I will discuss, and I'll show you that why it is not time. It is actually lack of understanding of the concept correctly and practice. Little bit of practice you lacked
yes, sir.
actually because of that. So fine with the first quiz if you are if you got to know like what are the things we need to see it and we have to get it correctly, so that in the next quizzes you will be doing better, and then I will consider the average of all. So there you will always get a scope to increase your marks. Final mark can be increased. Okay. So let me share with you the quiz. No, based of two, there may be 4, 5, 6 quizzes. I don't know how many quizzes. This time I have thought of increasing the number of quizzes because in online mode, there is difficulty for me to like find out whether really you are getting the concept or not. So I have to keep you engaged in some way so that your knowledge base on this particular subject will increase, right? So number of quizzes will be more. One more quiz I'll take very recently in this week only. So you'll be getting more opportunities. Let's try to score better in all the quizzes. Okay, best I'm not sure today. Mostly I don't want to take best because then I'll be finding difficult to like rank you all, right? And you also. So average will be better. Average will also increase your marks, right? Because in one if you got less, in others if you get higher, so average will come more. Okay, Vaskar. See, my objective is very clear. My objective is I am very much interested to add to your knowledge base, right? Now, it is you to decide that whether you really want to add your knowledge base or no, right? Okay, just give me 1 minute. So the time you do a future analysis, etc. So this is futuristic in nature. Sorry. Calculate profit or loss for the year. Cost of goods sold is in this question, you are asked profit or loss. See, 4-5 figures I have given, and I have tried to add as many questions related to this calculation of cost and calculation of profit with a little bit of variation, not very lengthy, little bit of variation, so that by doing 5-6 questions, you will have the clarity of your understanding on this. Okay, so for finding out the profit, we prepare one income statement, and income statement starts with sales. Sales is for 54 lakhs. And if you recall the income statement, we deduct cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is 40,50,000. 13,50,000 is your gross profit. Operating expenses, rent is the only operating expenses, but it is for 2 years. So I will take rent for 1 year. This is 11,50,000. These two informations are of not use in this question because cost of goods sold is already given. To find out cost of goods sold, you take these two information into consideration. Now, as it is already given, you don't need to bother about this, right? And the other way of thinking that when we have to take a decision, we will have lots of information, plenty of information. You have to take relevant information for your calculation, decision, etc. So that's why we will leave it. Focus on the way I'm explaining instead of writing it down the answers, right? So again, what you will miss the concept. Calculate cost of goods manufactured, cost of goods sold, cost of goods manufactured, right? So for cost of goods manufactured, if you recall, we had a formula. Formula was actually for cost of goods sold, but in that formula, we had in the right side, we had cost of goods manufactured. If you recall the formula, minus closing finished goods. Okay, opening finished goods plus goods manufactured minus closing finished goods is cost of goods sold. So we will put this formula.
Sir, if cost of goods manufactured and cost of production are same.
Cost of production is same. Okay,
Sir, can
so
you repeat this?
cost of goods sold is equal to opening finished goods plus cost of goods manufactured minus closing finished goods. That was there in the Excel I had shared with you all. So here in this question, here in this question, we have sales 54 lakhs. Okay. We don't need sales. We need cost of goods sold, which is 40,50,000. 40,50,000. Opening finished goods, 3 lakhs. Cost of goods manufactured, take X. Closing finished goods is 4 lakhs. You take it to the other side. 4 lakh is added, 44,50,000 minus 3 lakh, 41,50,000. Okay, 41,50,000. Yes. Next question. Calculate profit with the following information. Same, sales minus cost of goods sold. Here, cost of goods sold is not given, purchase is given. What does it mean? The goods purchased are sold. So we have to assume that all the goods purchased are sold because there is no inventory. Okay, otherwise I would have calculated goods sold. So my sales is 30,50,000. Minus cost of goods sold or purchases. All goods purchased are sold. 26 lakh. 4,50,000. minus operating expenses, 3,50,000. Income statement is a revenue expenses and income statement, 1 lakh. Capital assets are not taken into consideration. So purchase of furniture will not appear anywhere. Okay, purchase of furniture is asset. Okay, asset is not taken in income statement. We have cost of goods sold, then we have period cost. We don't have any we don't have any asset to be deducted in the income statement, right? So therefore this is of no use. So the answer is 1 lakh. Next one, calculate profit or loss with the following information. Once again, same profit or loss. So I start with sales. Sales or revenue. Revenue is 21 lakh. Less purchase of goods. Cost of goods sold is purchase of goods. Assumption is that there is no inventory. All goods purchased are sold. So that becomes your cost of goods. 9 lakh is your gross profit. Minus furniture purchase is fixed asset. So ignore that. Depreciation of furniture will come and operating expenses will come. So 50,000 and operating expenses 2 lakhs. So when you deduct these two, 6,50,000 is your profit. Okay.
Sir, we are not taking capital assets, but then we are taking in the depreciation on capital assets in this question.
Yeah, we had a class, complete class devoted almost 30 minutes. We discussed about depreciation. Depreciation is the loss of the value of asset because of the use, right? So that part is the revenue expenses. That's a loss. That's an expense. But when you buy the asset, you use it for a longer period of time. So asset depreciation, maintenance, etc., related to asset is a revenue expenditure that will come in your income statement, whereas the asset will go to the balance sheet. Okay, so please keep a note of it. Don't do this mistake again.
Sir, opening finished goods means the goods of the last, sir, or last
Opening
year's.
goods, last year's goods.
Okay. Sir.
Last year's. If you want to find out, the cost incurred for one student in a group, cost object is one student. Cost object is something for which you want to find out the cost. So there are four. Yes, and saying anything?
Sir, what kind of expenses come under operating expenses?
Operating expenses like administrative expenses, selling, distribution.
And the expenses are called operating expenses.
And sir, under operating expenses, depreciation doesn't come.
See, operating expenses, no. See, if you read the statement, what is given there? Other operating expenses, right? So I have tried to separate it from the depreciation. So depreciation is also operating expenses, but then I have written other operating expenses. I have not written operating expenses.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it.
All right. And yes.
Sir, depreciation will come under the non-cash credit transaction.
But in income statement, you take both, cash and non-cash, both expenses you take.
Yes, sir.
Cash flow, you take only cash. Otherwise, in income statement, you take both.
Okay, sir.
If you want to find out the cost incurred for one student in a group of 4 went to see a movie in a cinema hall, which one of the following is most appropriate example of direct cost? So in this case, you see traveling by auto. There is you don't pay for you. in auto you pay for the whole rent. Taxi also you pay for the rent for all four. And snacks, etc. also you take it for all four. Right? Tickets you take it for, buy it for individually. So you can identify the ticket cost, right? So one is having a ticket of 80, one is having a ticket of 200. So you can identify it with individuals who has gone for a specific type of ticket. So it is, that's why I use most appropriate example. You can, other examples are their indirect cost because you have to allocate it, divide it by 4, charge 60. But here you don't need to divide it. You whatever ticket cost is purchased for individually will be identified, can be identified with individuals. That's a direct cost. Find out the cost of the product. Product cost, repeatedly said, product cost means consisting of manufacturing cost. Cost of the product, manufacturing cost. Real labor, manufacturing overhead. Don't add everything. So 2,30,000, 3 lakhs, and 1,20,000, 6,50,000. Other two are period cost. Period cost doesn't form part of your inventory, doesn't form part of your product cost. So we will not take these two into consideration. Okay. Now, if I would have given you a question with this much information, all of you would have got 6,50,000, right? So there is no way to check your own understanding, like whether I really get it or not, right? So I have added two more information which will create some kind of confusion. From the following information, find out the period cost and the net profit made during the year. Right?
Under manufacturing overheads, or supervisor salary comes, right?
Yes, supervisor salary will come.
Sir, but we identify that with the product. So because
No.
supervisor is also means is controlling different products.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that is
we
not
are adding
cost.
it.
That is not direct cost. That is product cost. Right? In product cost, you have material, labor, and manufacturing overhead. The moment you say overhead, it is indirect cost, and overhead includes your supervisor expenses also. Right?
Sir, the supervisor is the indirect cost, na, sir?
Indirect manufacturing overhead. Indirect cost.
But manufacturing cost is the direct cost, na, sir? Like electric.
नहीं आशीष मैंने कभी नहीं बताया सर, मैंने कभी भी नहीं.
Sir, then why we are adding that manufacturing?
अलीबा हम लोग डिवाइड किए थे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और नॉन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. हमने डिवाइड किया था कॉस्ट को 2 कैटेगरी में, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और नॉन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. बताओ कौन कौन सा था मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में? मटेरियल, लेबर एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ओवरहेड. एंड व्हाट इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ओवरहेड? all cost incurred in the factory, whether direct or indirect, all together is manufacturing overhead. That is your product cost. Period cost कौन सा है? Office administration and
sales and distribution.
फिर उसमें पीरियड कॉस्ट को नहीं ऐड करेंगे, बट प्रोडक्ट कॉस्ट को ऐड करेंगे. डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट नहीं बोले, कभी नहीं बोले. हाँ, डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट को अभी तक हम लोग ऐसे नहीं किए. प्राइम कॉस्ट में वी हैड एडेड डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट, राइट?
So basically, we are adding the sales of goods sold, the periodic cost. Sorry, non-periodic cost.
Product cost, yes.
Okay.
Product cost. ठीक है, हम लोग वो स्लाइड को रिविजिट करेंगे फॉर 30 सेकेंड before I get into the new things. Direct material consumed is in this case, find out the period cost. Now period cost कौन सा है? Period cost you have got office administration and selling distribution. So 1,90,000. So these two, any one of these two answers will be correct. Right? अब देखना है कौन सा, which one is your profit. Profit, for finding out the net profit, you go to the income statement, you start with sales, 10 lakh, minus cost of goods sold. Okay, cost of goods sold. How much it is? Cost of goods sold. Product cost is cost of goods sold. because there is no inventory. All products manufactured are sold. 1,30,000, 3 lakh, and 1,20,000, 5,50,000. So gross profit is 4,50,000 minus period cost 1,90,000, 2,60,000. Net profit is 2,60,000. ये तो हम लोग कैलकुलेशन भी किए हैं 2,60,000. So this is the correct answer. Okay. See, repeatedly I am doing the same: sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, and then the operating or period cost. Which of the following combination is correct for material, power consumed in factory, and salary of receptionist? Material, manufacturing cost; factory, power consumption, manufacturing cost; receptionist salary, office cost. Manufacturing, and office. Okay. Which one is a period cost? Supervisor salary, works in factory. Factory is product cost. Material used in production, manufacturing, product cost. Depreciation of equipment used in factory, production, product cost. Advertisement is for selling, period cost. So this is the correct answer. Okay. So what I have tried to do by having all these questions, and the question I prepared just before 1 hour of your quiz. So I have tried to one thing is that I have tried to give you some kind of incremental learning by having so many questions related to cost of goods manufactured and profit. Okay, and my understanding is that you should be in a position to at least find out the profit. If anybody asks you, you should be in a position to at least find out the profit and cost. And you should be in a position to tell it like this happens because of this. Right? So that's why I have put those questions there. I can share the question with you because normally I don't share because I take the quiz once again, but this time I will not repeat this quiz. So those who would have missed the quiz, I take them for them. I take it once again, but this time I'm not going to do that. So I will share these questions. If it is there with you, can you view it now? Okay, fine. I can also answer. You can always do it on your own. The second thing is that I have tried to bring some kind of complication in the questions, small complications, not very difficult. So that will give you some kind of motivation to do it and score better on your own, right? So if I give you like ABCD kind of answers, everybody will score 10 marks, but your learning will not be anything. You will not have any learning. So here you will enjoy scoring good marks on your own. And the next quiz, there you will get one more opportunity to see that whether there is a incremental understanding or incremental learning or not, right? Thank you very much. So we will move to see here in this question, we have attempted very carefully all the product cost, period cost. If you repeat this question once again, you will get that. Cost flow, I don't have the diagram, but we had done it there, cost flow. Here in product cost, period cost, you can see direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing expenses that we take into consideration. Okay, so only these three things are taken into consideration to find out the cost of the product. Okay, and these two are period cost, never added to find out the cost of the product, goes directly to the income statement and exhausted in the period itself. It can move to the next period. Product cost can go to the next period if you are having some stocks. Okay. Participate more, ask more questions. If you are having any kind of confusion, ask more questions. I'll be happy to that. Just give me 1 minute. All right. We will have little bit of discussion related to direct cost and indirect cost. Then we will get into some of the questions.
Sir, can I ask one more question, sir?
Yes. Please ask.
Sir, what is job costing, sir? Could you explain it?
Yeah, your next chapter is job costing. Huh? We'll be doing it in the next, maybe the next session.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Sir, by adding all the direct costs, we get the prime cost, right?
We only get prime cost. All direct manufacturing cost together is prime cost. Okay, so in relation to this direct cost and indirect cost, what is direct cost? Direct cost is something which you can identify with the cost object. With the cost object. Cost object is what? Cost object is something for which you want to find out the cost. Okay, it can be individual customer, individual worker, individual department, or anything. So if you want to find out the cost incurred for a customer, for example, if I say advertisement cost, can you identify it with the customer? No, because it is done for the products, and products are purchased by hundreds and thousands of customers, so you cannot identify it with the customer. But warranty expenses is for one individual customer's requirement, so you can identify the expenses you can charge it to say customer. Any specific packaging required by a customer, you can identify with the customer. So there it becomes a direct cost. But if you cannot identify it's a common cost, then that becomes an indirect cost. Okay. Like the example we had discussed it in the previous class related to the lecture hall. There is a building in Kesom called annexure building. And in that annexure building, there are 12 rooms used for classroom purposes. If 1 meter is there to read the electricity consumed by the whole building, then you cannot identify how much electricity is consumed in LH8. But you can identify for the building. And if your cost object is LH8, then you will not be able to find out. Then you will not be able to identify. So if you want to find out the cost of LH8, electricity is a indirect cost. But if you have to find it out for the whole building, yes, you can identify because there is a meter. So on the basis of that, you can say that in this building, this much of electricity is consumed. So that's a direct cost. And if I install a meter in front of LH8 and then I get that electricity cost, then it is a direct cost. Okay, so what is changing? When your cost object is changing, the same cost is becoming a direct cost or becoming an indirect cost. In LH8, 80 students are sitting. If I have to find out the electricity consumed by individual student, there is no way. Technology has not developed to the extent that 1 meter can be installed on each and every student so that to read how much of electricity is consumed. So it's an indirect cost. So electricity is same. If you can identify, it's a direct cost. If you can't identify, it's an indirect cost. I will take you to a question related to indirect cost, and we'll see the understanding so far we have developed regarding the indirect cost. Okay. There is a question number 4, and I want all of you to go through the question. And whenever you read this cost object, think that I want to find out the cost for that particular thing. If it is patient, that patient. If it is department, then it is department. Okay. So giving you 2-3 minutes time to go through the things and analyze on your own, and thereafter we will be discussing. All right. Now we'll see, right, whether a particular cost is a direct cost or indirect cost. And then I will tell what is the use of identifying a cost as a direct cost or indirect cost. Okay. So in cold countries, we need heating in hospitals and in offices, etc. But in our country, we need ACs because it is too hot. The first example given here is catered food served to patients, and cost object is a particular patient. I want all of you to this is already given. This is direct cost. Okay, and why it is a direct cost?
So because it can be identified with the cost of
Because it's given a particular patient. Yes, sir. We can
A particular
identify the
customer, sir.
cost because we directly spend for particular customer, so we can identify easily.
So we can identify for a particular customer how much cost it is.
All right. So I am not discussing much because I have to see that whether really you have got the concept or not. So I will not discuss the first point. I'll now go to the second point. The wages of pediatric nurses. And the cost object, just wait. Cost object is a particular patient. You have to answer through chat whether it is a direct cost or indirect cost through chat. And 68 students are there. So if I get 68 responses, I'll be very happy. Otherwise, one student can send 2-3 responses so that the number will increase, and that way also I'll be happy. Fast, all of you. Saswat, don't give 2-3 response.
No, sir.
Okay. See, you just need to answer whether direct or indirect, D or I. You can write shortly D or I, and send it to me. Send it to me. Okay. And those who are not there on video mode, I will be asking them the questions. There are few those who are not on video mode. So the question I will ask them. Yes, Rahul. Rahul Pathak. Are you there, Rahul? Rahul is not responding. Rishabh. Rishabh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rishabh, what it is, direct or indirect?
Sir, I guess direct.
Okay. But why do you guess like direct?
Sir, I'm not sure about it. I need to think more about it.
Think now and tell me why are you thinking like this? Thinking is essential, actually. Thinking is something on the basis of which you will be come to the conclusion.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm talking to Rahul, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I get disconnected.
Okay. Okay, Rahul, tell then the answer, what it is.
Sir, I guess.
Sir, it is direct, sir.
Let Rahul tell. Huh?
So it is direct cost.
Cost क्या होता है? Direct cost ना?
Yes, sir. Direct cost.
Why it is direct cost?
So I don't.
On what basis you see that one cost is direct cost? What is the definition of direct cost?
So particular patent.
नहीं, तुम थोड़ा सुनो अभी पहले, हाँ, वो थिंकिंग में चला गया, तुम सुनो फर्स्ट यू लिसन, हाँ, आई विल कम बैक टू थोड़ा चेहरा दिखाओ, वीडियो ऑन करो।
यस सर।
घर पे ही हो ना?
यस सर।
कहीं मत जाओ, कहीं जाओगे तो फिर नहीं सुन पाओ। ठीक है, अच्छा, लेट मी आस्क, yes, Ashish, you tell and listen to Ashish.
So I'm thinking that because the wages are predict nurses is the mention the how many nurses we don't know. So how much we can describe the value in that case. So that's why I think it's the indirect cost. How much?
Okay, all right.
Nurse? Yes.
Which nurse? Which nurse?
So which nurse will get how much money? We don't know. That's the
okay.
That's the we can determine the value of the money. That's way.
हाँ, नहीं ठीक है, देखो, लेट मी टेल यू कि ये जो कंसेप्ट हम लोग गेटिंग ना, हाउ टू अप्रोच इट एक्चुअली, हाउ टू अप्रोच इट। अप्रोच गलत रहेगा ना, एवरी टाइम यू विल आंसर, क्या होगा, घुमा घुमा के आंसर दोगे तो वो आंसर में बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा। देखो कैसे इसको अप्रोच करना है। एक अप्रोच है कि कॉस्ट ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई ऑन, ठीक है। कॉस्ट ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है, किस चीज का कॉस्ट निकालना चाहते हैं, विच कॉस्ट यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट। आई वांट टू फाइंड आउट द कॉस्ट इनकर्ड फॉर ए पेशेंट, ठीक है। मुझे फाइंड आउट करना है कि पेशेंट के लिए कितना कॉस्ट हुआ। एक कॉस्ट में मैं देखा कि नर्स का सैलरी जो है, नर्स सर्विस प्रोवाइड करती है, तो नर्स का जो सैलरी है वो भी एक कॉस्ट है पेशेंट का। तो दो चीज होता है, कैन आई आइडेंटिफाई इट और आई कांट आइडेंटिफाई। इफ आई कांट आइडेंटिफाई इट बिकम्स इनडायरेक्ट, उसको मैं क्या करता हूँ, डिवाइड इट। अगर आइडेंटिफाई करता हूं तो मैं डाल देता हूं उसके हेड में, सीधा डाल देता हूं, गेटिंग माय पॉइंट, ठीक है। तो नाउ यू टेल मी, कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई नर्स सैलरी और वेजेस विथ अ इंडिविजुअल पेशेंट्स कॉस्ट?
No, sir.
No, sir.
You can't identify because one nurse may be, yeah, Bhaskar, tell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wages are paid on the basis of their work, na? Then it's a direct cost.
Yeah, let's come to that. Wages paid to a nurse may be on daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis. The nurse doesn't work for one patient. The nurse will be working for 10 patients there, and there are patients not staying in the hospital for all throughout the month. Some patients will be staying for 1 day, some patients may be staying for 3 days, some patients may be staying for 15 days. So, and the salary of nurse, for example, 10,000. How can you identify it with one patient? You can't identify. Okay, because salary paid for the nurse for the whole month, nurse is working for 30 days, working for so many patients, so we can't identify. You can divide it. You can divide it on the basis of patient hours. Okay, there is a concept called patient hours. Number of patients, number of days or number of hours they are staying in the hospital. On the basis you can, the moment you use basis, that becomes an indirect cost. If you can identify, then it's a direct cost. If you don't, if you can't identify, you allocate it using a basis, then it's an indirect cost. Here in this case, I am seeing it as an indirect cost. How can I make it a direct cost? How can I make it a direct cost? I can make it a direct cost if things would have been like this. For one particular patient, it is a critical patient. And for a critical patient, you allotted one nurse. So I know that one nurse is working for that patient. So 10,000, all 10,000 will be charged to that patient. Or every time you call the nurse, you click the button there, calling bell, and nurse visits you, nurse charges 200. Then I can identify 10 times you called the nurse. 2,000. Right? So there, here I can identify. But salary paid to nurse, and nurse is taking care of 10 people, 15 people, 20 people for different days. It is, you cannot identify. So it's an indirect cost. Okay, let's move to the second one, prescription drugs.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Indirect cost. But do you think in India we have that condition? We don't have, no?
No, sir.
Till now we don't have. Till now we don't have. But in relation to doctors, that is there. Okay, if you see any patient's medical bill in all corporate hospitals, you will find that number of times doctor visited to the patient, they are charged. The patients are charged. Okay, so for every visit they charge 400, 500 or 1,000 rupees and even more. Okay, that is how they
clinics also doctors take a particular amount on the basis of how many numbers of patients they are checking per day.
Yeah, that's a direct cost.
Yes,
that's
sir.
a direct cost. But if you call a doctor to your say to your house, and doctor takes care of, for every visit doctor takes say 2,000 rupees, but at the same time 5 members of your family, 4 members of your family, 3 members of your family talk to the doctor and interact, and whatever issues are there you discuss. So there it is a common pool. The moment it is a common pool, then you can't identify. But if it is independent and individual expenses, then you can identify. Okay, with the discussion of few more points, you will have more clarity. Prescription drugs and pediatric department. Can you identify with the pediatric department? Because I want to find out the cost incurred in pediatric department. Cost object means cost of that department. So can you identify prescription drugs with the pediatric department? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Through chat, please answer me. Direct or indirect? Direct or indirect? Okay, now many of you have answered it direct, right? So who will tell why direct? Itisri tell. Itisri, can you tell why it is a direct cost?
me it is reported.
Yeah, Itisri, proceed.
Yes,
Next
sir.
time.
Sir, the pediatric, sorry, sir. The prescription drugs and the pediatric department, there are many departments in a hospital. We can predict the department wise.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, can I say that it is indirect cost because the for a pediatric department it is a direct cost, but in precision drug who prescribe that we don't know, so we can't describe the value or we can identify the value, so that we can say that indirect cost.
Ashish, can you identify the prescription drugs cost with the pediatric department?
No, sir. Okay, no,
No.
I didn't get it.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes. Who said yes?
Sir,
Sivan. Tell Sivan.
Sir, as there are various departments, like we can find out what is the cost of the drug sold in pediatric department. That's why it is a direct cost.
So prescription drugs means prescribed for individual patients. And if the patient belongs to the department, this cost also belongs to the department. All right. So we can identify it with the department. Right. So it's a direct cost.
Sir, but the prescription drugs can be of different means medicines that cannot be related only to the pediatric, right? So then why we are taking that prescription drugs to be direct cost? Because pediatric is different department.
Yes, no, what is our cost object? Cost object is I have to find out how much cost incurred in pediatric department. Now the prescription drugs means it is prescribed to a patient, right? And suppose the patient is X. X is a patient of pediatric department. Okay.
Yes.
And drugs are prescribed to X. So you can identify it with X, even X, not department. You can identify it with X. And X belongs to pediatric department. So you can identify it with pediatric department. Okay. So let me tell you, for example, there are 3 patients, XYZ. This is ortho. This is, say, what it is, medicine. And this is pediatric. Okay. Drugs are prescribed. All 3 went to the, what it is called, where drugs are sold.
Medicine store.
Medicine store. Or drugs are prescribed and the nurse went to the medicine store and collected all the medicines. Okay. And it is prescribed for X, you gave ABCD, Y ABCD, and Z, whatever. So you can identify it with X, you can identify it with pediatric department. There is no way. What I said, indirect cost is a common cost. For example, all the people will have the same medicine, right? And they can eat any amount of medicine, so that they will get well soon. So they collected all, and then they all 3 fought for the medicine, right? I said fought for the medicine. They have started fighting with each other because they have to eat what the more quantity they will eat, they will get well soon. So then it is a common cost. But if they come with their prescription and they collect some of the drugs, it can be identified with the patient. I go to restaurant and I ask the staff to give me some food. I also went to the restaurant and asked. But I went to a canteen and then I picked up a thali and then I started taking it. I took 1 time, somebody took 2 times, somebody took 3 times. There is a common pool. Okay. So no identification how much is eaten by X and Y and Z. But if you go to a restaurant and you order something, so there is a specific order and for that you have to pay. So it can be identified with. But here if X, Y and Z is coming, then you can't identify. What you do, you allocate it, you divide it. Equally you divide it, or you divide it on the basis of number of times they visited. So use a basis. The moment you use a basis, it becomes an indirect cost. Here you don't need to use any basis because I know X belongs to pediatric department, so the cost belongs to pediatric department. I can identify it, so it's a direct cost. Okay. Let's do more questions and then I think we'll have better clarity. Hitting the hospital. I told that in cold countries you need to hit the hospital. And can you identify the cost with a particular patient?
No, sir.
You can't identify. So it's an indirect. So it's an indirect cost. It is just like the electricity consumed in LH1 or LH8. identify with the student. You can't identify it with the student. You can allocate it. So it's an indirect cost. The salary of the head of pediatric, and you have to find out the cost of pediatric department. Can you identify it with the pediatric department? Yes or no?
Yes,
Write
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we can find it.
Yes, sir.
But you know that pediatric head is the individual who works for the pediatric department. So the cost can be identified with the pediatric department. What is the benefit of identifying the cost? If you can identify, you can directly charge it to that customer or whatever. Okay, that is the benefit. If you can't identify, you have to allocate it. And when you allocate it, there is a chance that you charge someone more and someone less. There is a chance. How it is a chance? Let me take an example. 3 friends went to Ahmedabad in 2013. And all people are from Odisha. Odisha people, Odisha, Bengal, and this side people are fond of eating fish and non-veg, etc. So nowadays, everywhere people are eating. Now they were not getting non-veg in Ahmedabad. So they identified that there is a KFC mall. So once in a week, they go to the KFC mall and they buy a bucket. Okay. Bucket cost them, say, 1,300. A, B, and C. After 1 week, they are eating non-veg. Grilled chicken. First time grilled, sometime fried. Like. You will be feeling hungry. Today is Wednesday. Okay. Now, what they will do? They will not maintain that discipline. They will not follow any order. They will try to eat as much they can, as fast they can. Okay. Can you identify how much is eaten by A, how much is eaten by B, and how much is eaten by C?
No, sir.
No, sir.
What you will do, the best you can do is divide it by 3, which is coming 433. There are some slow eaters and there are some fast eaters. I don't know what is the word used for that. Those who eat fast, I don't know what used. So in reality, he had taken only 3 pieces and he had taken 6 pieces. And this guy has taken 4. 3, 4, and 6 coming 13. This person should have been charged only 300 and this person should have been charged 600. But what I have done, I divided it equally. I did not do, they do. They divided equally. So he has to pay 433. Throughout the road while returning, he was thinking, खाया तो मैंने कम था. हाँ? सी का नाम क्या है? सी का नाम क्या है? तुम लोग क्लास में कौन है? नहीं देखे हो एक दूसरे को?
Yes, sir.
हाँ? सी का नाम है?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. नहीं छोड़ो, यस का नाम मिल लेंगे. I don't know. So he will throughout and he is very happy. C is very happy. आज तो फिर कब जाएंगे? रास्ता भर पूछता आ रहा है कि next week Wednesday चलते हैं. हाँ? Because he has eaten 600 and paid only 430. Okay. Itisri, who are you? A, B, or C?
C, sir.
None of them.
देखो इतिश्री का घर में आज चिकन बना है. फीलिंग हंग्री देखो. नहीं,
It's mutton.
Oh, sorry for the vegetarians. Okay, so what will happen? This is the problem with allocation, and this is why I'm telling that if you cannot identify, try to allocate it using a correct basis, right? There was no nobody there, or even they were knowing, they have not applied the concept of cost and management accounting. If I would have been there, यार तुम जितना पीस उठाओगे उसमें से ना काउंट करके रखो, ठीक है, नहीं तो नहीं होगा। फिर तुम काउंट करो, 13 पीस है, तुम 3 पीस लिया, तुम 300 दे। Getting my point? Getting my point? See, if I can identify, it's a direct cost. If I can't identify, it's an indirect cost. The problem with the indirect cost is allocation. And if you use a wrong basis of allocation, you charge over to someone and you charge less to someone. So one person will be subsidizing the other person. Nobody would like to do this. Nobody would like to have, or nobody like to subsidize someone else. I'm bearing the cost, I should get the benefit. Why should I pass the benefit to you if I'm incurring the cost? That is the problem. That is why we have to divide it into direct and indirect cost. And once I see that it's an indirect cost, I have to find out a correct allocation basis. If I use a wrong allocation basis, you will be charging to one customer and charging less to one customer. Charging more to one customer, charging less to one customer. You are charging less to the customer, repeatedly will visit your place. You are charging more to a customer, will not turn out second time. So you will lose your customer. From one, you will lose profit. From one, you will lose your customer. You will arrive at a loss without knowing that you are incurring loss and why you are incurring loss. That's why you need to know the concept of this. Do you agree with me or not? Okay. So the problem of subsidizing someone comes when you allocate it using a wrong basis. All right. Okay. The next one, the salary of the head of pediatric, a pediatric patient. Can you identify the salary paid to pediatric head?
No, sir.
With the pediatric patient?
No, sir.
I can identify with the department, not with the patient. Very good. Hospital chaplain salary, hospital whoever caretaker, etc. Their salary, a particular patient.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now you see how easy it has become now. You are answering so fast. I'll come to the 7th point. Lab test by outside contractor and a particular patient. Can you identify the cost with the particular patient? Through chat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, yes or no through chat. Because then I will ask someone who is not keeping the video on switch on mode. जैसे ही मैं बोल देता हूँ स्विच ऑन मोड वालों को नहीं पूछेंगे और स्विच ऑफ मोड वालों को सभी स्विच ऑन कर देते लोग बदमाश हो। चंदिता, कैन यू टॉक नाउ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will ask Sneha Singh.
Yes, sir.
Sneha, what it is? Direct or indirect?
Direct cost.
Direct cost.
Yes, direct cost. Why? Why direct cost?
Because there's this particular patient.
Complete the sentence, complete.
So because there is a particular patient.
So why you are saying that it's a direct cost? Why not indirect? Okay. All right. You listen. Let me ask Pratyush. Pratyush, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay. Is it direct or indirect?
So it's a direct cost because there is a particular patient, not like many other patients. That's why.
There is a particular patient, and how come you say that it's a direct cost? Means particular patient is fine. So that's a cost object. I want to find out the cost incurred for a particular patient, and lab test is the cost. Okay, a bill has come for lab test from the lab. There will be 100 types of lab tests done. Okay, 10 COVID cases, 9 Falana, X, Y, Z, etc., etc. So how do I know that it is done for X or Y for Z.
But it's written that it's for a particular patient, so like it is individual, so it will be a direct cost.
हाँ, थोड़ा से उसमें एडिशनल करना है, थोड़ा से लैंग्वेज में थोड़ा से और बेहतर करना है. Who will tell the answer? Now I will ask openly. Who will tell the answer?
Sir, it is for a particular patient, which means how much the patient will be giving the money when doing a lab test. Like if he's doing for malaria test 200 rupees, if he's doing for COVID test 300, then total cost incurred by that patient for lab test is 500 rupees. It can be identified.
संजय वो क्लास रे अच्छी टिके 10 मिनट पर फोन करूँ. Okay. Good, very good. Okay, let me tell you what happens in the case of a lab test. Suppose anybody's blood is to be tested. Doctor asks for like diabetes and many things, right? So blood is collected. Okay, there are 10 patients. So on the basis of prescription, for example, blood test is done. तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं? 10 पेशेंट्स का ब्लड को कलेक्ट करते हैं. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
और सारा ब्लड को लेके एक बॉटल में डालते हैं. राइट और रॉन्ग? डालते हैं ना एक बॉटल.
Different bottles.
Different bottles.
सबका अलग अलग.
सबका अलग अलग नाम के साथ रहता है.
तो सबका अलग अलग होता है, सबका अलग अलग टेस्ट होता है और सबका अलग अलग बिल आता है. ठीक है. सो यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई. अगर ऐसा होता है कि सारा ब्लड को एक जगह में डाल देते और फिर उसको मिला के एक टेस्ट कर देते, तो फिर वो कॉमन कॉस्ट हो जाता. फिर हम देखते हैं कि किसका कितना ब्लड लिया, उस हिसाब से डिवाइड कर देते. बेसिस तो मेरे को एक यूज करना है, तो चार्जिंग इट टू द कस्टमर. जिसका ज्यादा ब्लड उसका कॉस्ट ज्यादा है. ऐसा करते हैं क्या? वी डोंट डू दैट. वी हैव प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, वी गो फॉर पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट, we send it to the lab records it on the basis of some kind of coding, and then on the basis of coding we identify the patient, and then we see that kitna charge kiya gaya and we charge it to the customer. So you can identify it, right? So that's a direct cost. Okay, now let's see the next point. Lab test outside contractor, a particular department. Again, it is a direct cost. I will not allow you to pay. Why? Because if you can identify with the smaller unit, you can always identify with the larger unit. Because smaller unit is one of the element of the larger unit. अगर मुझे पेशेंट पता चल जाता है तो आई नो कि ये पेशेंट पेडियाट्रिक डिपार्टमेंट का है, मेडिसिन का है, ऑर्थो का है, सर्जरी का है, कहाँ का है. So I can always identify it with that. Okay. The second thing which comes here is that what is the benefit of identifying? That you have to remember. नहीं तो बाद में पता चला कि सर हम लोग डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट और इनडायरेक्ट कॉस्ट पढ़े थे. हाँ, वो मालूम है, मगर क्यों पढ़े थे? क्योंकि आप पढ़ाए थे. आपने पढ़ाया, हमने नहीं. इसलिए see, I am not teaching because I want to teach. I am teaching because I am giving a concept and I am saying that if you know it is a direct cost, you directly charge it to the customer. And if you don't know it is a direct cost, then you use a basis. And then I will come to the next sessions where I will teach that what basis you will use. And where if you use a wrong basis, what is the impact of that? Those are the things we are going to learn. So we are, as I said in the beginning of the class, that it is the incremental learning. If you think that I will learn the next class, today's class, I will not learn. So you are losing some of the fundamentals which will help you to get the concept. Now I will come to the next question. Question number 5. In this question, we have a list of expenses, and this is in relation to manufacturing plants, a production plant. And you have to identify whether the cost is a variable cost or it's a fixed cost. Second, you have to identify whether it is a selling cost or administrative cost or manufacturing. And if it is a manufacturing cost, is it a direct cost or indirect cost? One example is given that I will explain. Property tax. Can anybody tell on what basis property tax is charged?
The valuation of the property.
Valuation of the property. Not on the basis of output. If output varies, your property tax will not vary. If you produce more, your property tax will not increase. It will be paid on the value of property tax that remains same. So it's a fixed cost. Okay. Did I explain the concept of fixed cost? Fixed, variable, mixed?
No, sir.
Okay. Then I would like to take you back to the fixed cost concept. But before that, let me finish this at least 2 points. Property tax is related to factory, and factory is related to manufacturing, and it's a common expenses, cannot be identified with individual products. So it's an indirect cost. It's a manufacturing cost, but it's an indirect cost. It is not related to administration. It is not related to selling. Second one, boxes used for packaging detergent produced by the company. Now, without packing it in a packet, detergents cannot be sold openly. So packaging cost, primary packaging cost is a direct material cost. You can identify with every packet that this is the material cost. Although it is packaging material, but it is direct material cost. For distribution, you need cartons. That is a selling expenses. But here it is not for distribution. It is for packaging, the primary packaging of the detergents. Detergents are never sold openly. I have never seen it sold openly. Right. Similarly, matchsticks are also not sold openly. Matchsticks are kept in a matchbox and then sold. So that matchbox is also part of primary packaging, is also part of material cost, direct material, and manufacturing. Boxes used for every 1 kg, you need 1 box. So it varies proportionately. If the production increases, the quantity increases, the matchbox cost will also increase. So it's a variable cost. If it varies proportionally, then it's a variable cost. Salesperson's commission, variable or fixed?
Variable.
Variable.
Variable because if salesperson will have more sales,
More
commission will be more. If sales will be less, commission will be less. So it's a variable.
Sir, can you say that mixed cost, there is some salary or there is some bonus?
Yeah, mixed cost is the example of a salesman itself. Salesman, for example, is paid 15,000 salary, 2% sales commission. So 15,000 is fixed, 2% is variable. Together, it is a mixed cost. Or we term it as semi-fixed or semi-variable, right? Mixed cost. So here, salesperson commission, I'm talking about commission. I'm not talking about the salary part. So the supervisor salary. Supervisor salary is a fixed or variable?
A fixed cost.
Fixed cost.
Fixed cost.
It is related to production, manufacturing. So it is indirect cost because you can't identify the supervisor with the particular job, because supervisor is taking care of many employees, those who are involved in various jobs, like the case of nurses' wages in relation to patient. So it's a what? It's an indirect
cost.
Okay. The rest of the things you have to do, I will take you to the slides where I will discuss the concept of behavior of cost. Okay. And here, if you see, on the basis of behavior of cost, we can divide it into fixed, variable, and mixed. Fixed cost is something which doesn't change in a given range or capacity. It remains same. For example, rent. I am staying on a rented house and the rent is 20,000. We are 4 members. When my parents visits, so we become six members. If any relative comes, the number increases. We go to somewhere else, the number decreases, but I pay a rent of 20,000. So this is a fixed cost. Right? So this is a fixed cost. There is a hostel where there are 10 beds. Right? For individual beds, 2,000 rupees charged. This is a variable cost. If 9 beds are occupied, the cost will be 80. If 10 beds are occupied, the cost will be 20. Right? So this is a variable cost. We manufacture, say, marker. For one marker, I need 5 grams of plastic. 5 grams of plastic. For 2 markers, 10 grams of plastic. For 100 markers, 500 grams of plastic. What is happening? The cost is varying proportionately. When the units are increasing, the cost is also increasing. What was happening in case of rent? When the number of people are increasing, the cost is remaining 20,000. At 4, 20,000. At 6, also 20,000. It's a fixed cost. In case of salary of sales staff is 15,000. But if he sells more, he gets incentive. So the total cost to the organization is fixed plus variable. This much. It doesn't remain same. Okay. So this is what? This is a mixed cost. All right. I will take you to the next slide. I have a very interesting slide and I want your observation here. Okay. We don't have much time, so I'll try to finish it in 2 minutes. I'll just tell you the situation and then I'll ask you a question. Okay. And here you will, the businessman in you will come out here. Okay, if that businessman is there. If it is not there, will not come out. See, I can design my cost structure. What I say, I can design my capital structure. You would have read it in corporate finance. Capital structure, how much of debt, how much of equity, how much of hybrid, right? So that is designing your capital structure. Similarly, I can design my cost structure. I am an organization. I have employees. I pay them salary. I can pay them fixed salary. So my cost will be fixed. I can pay them variable salary. I will say that you will get commission. You will not get any fixed salary. Go and sell. You will get commission. I can give partly fixed salary and partly variable. I can give partly fixed salary and partly variable, but I'll keep a cap. Right? These are the 4 situations I have discussed. There may be hundreds of situations. First situation is I give them 30,000 as salary. Second situation is I give my sales staff 2% of total sales made by them. So there is a jewelry shop and sales staffs are given 2% of whatever sales they are making. In a day, one staff sold 1 lakh. He got 2,000. And one staff sold 10 lakh. He got 20,000. Right? As a jeweler, I don't have problem because I earn 8%. I earn 5%. After giving 2%, still 3% is left. I give a fixed salary of 15,000 plus 1% sales commission. And the last one is I give 10,000 fixed salary and then 1% commission. But the moment your total salary becomes 30,000, thereafter I don't give you any commission. So I make it stagnant at 30,000. Itisri, you are getting it? I make it stagnant or I restrict his salary to 30,000. Okay, you're busy in sending WhatsApp message. You send it to me. I'll see it. Don't send it to your friends. And by mistake, that has come to me. Itisri, that has come to me.
I
You see,
didn't texted anyone.
you see where you have sent the message, you have sent it to me.
No, sir,
All right, you are on mute actually.
sorry. Sir, I was writing that. Wait, I'll talk to you, Bhaskar.
Itisri, don't write, huh? Because see, we are discussing, and from discussion only you will learn, huh? All
Yes,
other
sir.
things I will share with you. See, I never keep any material prepared by me for my use. I give it to my students. You can ask them, those who have studied it from me 10 years back. By the way, I'm teaching it for 22 years. Huh? This is not 22 years, even earlier. But that was I was giving tuitions. But formally, I'm teaching for last 22 years. Okay, I share it with my friends. Many people don't share. They say that this is prepared by me. I always prepare new things. So I always share it. I don't keep it. I don't make it stagnant. My question to the whole class is, can you tell me, I'm leaving it for the class, your own understanding, and you tell it in the next class. But you have to tell that we had this discussion. Otherwise, I'll be doing something else. See, what I'm asking is, in what kind of condition, what kind of situation I would like to go for a specific way of paying salary to my staff. Why I will give only 30,000? I'm giving 30,000 means I'm not giving any incentive to efficient staffs. In which condition I would like to do this, and what is the benefit? If I give them 2% commission, then in which condition I will give them 2% commission, right? Why I will design it like this? And if I give them 10,000 and 1% salary, 1% commission, and why I would like to restrict it at some level, 30,000, 50,000, 50,000. There is a logic behind it. So you have to identify that logic. And those who have some kind of work experience as a salesperson will definitely be able to tell you. So I want to instigate in you that salesperson, that businessman, who will have some kind of understanding that I will design my cost in a manner that will give me the maximum benefit. Okay, I would like to keep it variable where I'm not sure of selling a certain amount of goods. If I'm not sure, I keep it variable. If the salesperson will not be able to sell, will not get anything. But in the other case, I give them fixed salary. That means I'm sure that sales will happen. Okay, so I'm leaving it to you. You discuss, and we will have in the next class, we'll have the discussion. Bhaskar will initiate the discussion. He is chatting with somebody else there in the room. And behind him, there is Indian flag.
Yes,
Bhaskar,
sir, he is texting in the group now.
No, he was not texting, but he was talking to somebody there in the room. Okay, ये इंडियन फॉरेन सर्विस का फ्लैग लेके घूमता है. और वो कहाँ गया? वो अग्रवाल कहाँ गया? अग्रवाल बिजनेस में चला गया. भास्कर क्या नाम था?
तो आ गया प्रियांशु
सर, आ गया सर, प्रियांशु अग्रवाल.
Priyanshu, dear Priyanshu, you are not talking, you are not discussing.
Sir, I had raised my hand, but you didn't see in that questions.
नहीं, तुम raise your voice यार, raise your hand से नहीं चलेगा, voice raise करो.
Yes, sir.
हाँ? Because I hope that you would have some kind of business, business experience.
Yeah. No, sir. I'm not fresh.
What does your parents do?
Sir, business. My father is business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why ना, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes.
जिसके फैमिली में बिजनेस है ना, घर में डिस्कशन होते रहता है, उसको प्रॉफिट लॉस कॉस्ट ये सब बहुत इजीली पकड़ में आता है. सो माय मारवाड़ी फ्रेंड्स यूज्ड टू डिस्कशन मूविंग. और तुम नहीं बोलोगे तो कैसे होगा? देखो ऋषभ बिस्किट खा रहा है, क्लास में बैठा हुआ बिस्किट खा रहे हैं. हाँ, तो ऋषभ तुम थिंकिंग में था, आज नेक्स्ट क्लास में एप्लीकेशन में आना होगा.
Sure, sir, definitely.
हाँ, थिंकिंग में नहीं रहना है, यू हैव टू अप्लाई. सी, थिंकिंग इज द वेरी फर्स्ट स्टेज. ओके Aditi, you are getting na? Thinking is essential. See, ये जो this subject I am teaching, this is a very interesting subject until unless you think. अगर you are not thinking, you are not getting into it ना, ये सारा जो मटेरियल है ऊपर से जाएगा, अंदर कुछ भी नहीं जाएगा. The moment you start getting interest in it और इसको फिर समझने लगते हो, डिस्कशन करते हो, पूछते हो, you develop the concept and you will definitely, I'm telling you with guarantee,